Hey, welcome back. All right, so we're going to go through, and from the last video we did up here, and we looked through that. So look at back at that video at the tracker overview page. So what we're going to do here is we're going to start over here, and I try to work from left to right as I'm doing this. But we're going to look at the students at this green page here. You can obviously see I have my son and daughter in here. I've sorted them from last name first and first name last there from A all the way to Z. You can change and do that however you want to, student ID number, but usually last name, since that's how our roles are and things like that. I usually look at them last name in alphabetical order there. But as you're going through here, I know we talked a little bit about exporting students on the last thing and exporting data and how you could bring it up. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do that on this little tab. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Export Students. What pops up on Export Students here, it says, all right, what column order do you want it in? And I can change that if I want to. Obviously, I want their last name first because that's how it shows over here. Now, when I go in and it does file type, if you're like me and you're running off Windows 10 or some kind of Windows platform, you want to go in, and even a lot of Macs now run off of Microsoft Excel. I can go in, it says, I can do this closed file, or I can go into Microsoft Excel, is the Excel SX. So I can go in, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to export them. It downloads right over here, and then it'll automatically pop up because I'm using Excel. So let's go ahead and get reading, pop up Excel on Office 365. And it automatically imports my kids with their student ID. Now let's say I had data out here from their standards. It would have the standard listed at the top, and then it would have their grades as they were going through, whether they've mastered, near mastery, or they need remediation of some type. So that's a little bit of what the exported view looks like. You can save that to your desktop. If you need to add it to your TEKS platform or something like that, you can always save it and then upload it if you need evidence of how they're creating their CFAs, if that's your professional learning goal. So I'm going to go ahead and X out of that, and I'm going to come back to this page. This one right here is another good way to add students. You can always click on that, and I'll add my niece, Andy, if I could spell, Andy Allen. I'm going to go ahead and do her in there, and she has, 6 words, and I'm going to go ahead and save and close that. Let's say you have a new student that comes in that's never been to your school before. You don't have them in another class or in another tracker. Then you can always add them in here, and it automatically pops them in alphabetical order like this. I just find that it's easier with alphabetical order than it is lunch numbers or anything else because I don't know their lunch numbers. So now I'm continuing to work from left to right. I'm going to go in here. You can see that we have our 5th grade standards across the top because I'm in a 5th grade classroom right now teaching ELA. That's the subject area that I'm teaching. Well, I can go in and I can hover over these gray lines here, and it'll actually pop up and show me what the standard reads. It's to determine a theme of a story, drama, or poem from details in the text, including how characters in a story or drama respond to challenges or how, and then you can see it drops off. So what I can do is I can go in, hover over this, and it gives me a little drop down. We'll get to the assess part of it later, which is really important. But I can go in, and that part that pops up, I can view standard, which is really cool because when I put in my class, it automatically pulls up all my Georgia Standards Excellent. And then it goes through, summarize the text, so on and so forth. And I can always reword it. Like if you decompose the standards with your students and they have a different way of understanding it, or in better kid speak, and taking some of those these words out, then that would be easier. I mean, you could change, respond or challenges to something else, or reflects. You could say think upon, summarize. You could just say shorter version of the text, something like that. You could always reword it down here for your kids if they're looking for that standard if you have them working online. then they'll have a chance to look at that. Now, if I come in here, I can also do notes on that standard. I haven't used this a whole lot because I know what the standards are, and I could put in here something about my CFA. CFA will be given, February 13th, 2021, whatever else. Haven't pinned any resources to this yet. We'll look at that later because you can pull resources from wherever you need it if you've got something scanned or if you're working on something like that that goes along with your CFA or Essential Standard. You can always put that in there. Um, Power I haven't really used a whole lot either because what I'm doing with this is I'm doing the simplest version. I don't want to get into any kind of depth or anything on that because I simply want to be able to create my classes. I want to be able to add my students, and I want to be able to track their mastery of the essential standards and be able to show evidence that they have mastered them if somebody comes knocking on my door and asking. Calendar is where you set up. A lot of this stuff will be filled out. Power, resources, calendar, substandards. Substandards would be your elements or things that are going under your essential standard, like us in second grade. We work off of numbers and base 10s 5 a lot. Well, it encompasses a lot of our algebra and algebraic thinking standards. It does a lot of our numbers and base 10 standards. It even puts in some of our operations and algebraic thinking standards. So I can also, as I move down, I can remove standard. Well, that's what I'm going to work on right now, is I'm going to show you how to remove standards, and then we'll move past that. Then I can export. I can export their mastery just like I showed you before. You can export that data into Excel spreadsheet, which is that Excel XS thing. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead to finish up this video. I'm going to go ahead and remove a standard, and I'm going to remove RL2. We found that, hey, we went through, it's not an essential skill. Although it's important, it's not essential for our fifth graders to achieve mastery and move to the next level. Like, it's not the basic necessity. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to remove that. This pops up at the top of the screen. It says App Master Connect. Are you sure we want to move the standard? I said, okay. I want to go ahead and move that. A little glitch in the screen, sorry. And then you can see that it goes away. So now RL3 is at the top. So what I'm going to do before the next video is I'm going to go in and I'm going to take out, and I'm going to go through that same process. Go down. I'm going to remove my standard. I'm going to click OK because they automatically throw them all in for you. And I'm going to get down to my basic 5. So I'll see you for the next video.